I was supposed to be 200 miles away at a tech summit in Seattle, listening to someone drone on about decentralized data nodes and blockchain scalability, not standing barefoot in my own cabin, watching strangers sip champagne in my living room like they own the place. One woman was taking selfies in front of the fireplace I built by hand. A teenager was grilling hot dogs on my outdoor deck. And standing right in the middle of it all, clipboard in hand and smug little smile glued to her face, was Gloria Haskins, head of the Silver Ridge HOA. I hadn't told anyone I was coming back early. The conference got canceled last-minute plumbing issues at the hotel, they said. So instead of checking into a chain hotel for 3 days of networking, I drove through the Cascades toward my off-grid sanctuary. No phone, no internet, just me and the trees. That was the plan. But the second I crested the final ridge and saw the trail of SUVs lined up along the dirt road, Mercedes, Autos, even a Tesla that definitely didn't belong up there, I knew something was wrong. My cabin was supposed to be locked up, quiet, private. I parked half a mile out, cut the engine, and walked the rest of the way through the trees with mud on my boots and a suitcase still in hand. I could hear them before I saw them. Laughter, footsteps, glasses clinking. When I peeked through the shrubs, my stomach dropped. People were walking through my house like it was some damn Zillow tour, holding brochures. Admiring the timber beams, I milled myself. Someone had even staked a banner in the front yard that read, "Private showing today, only must pre-qualify." I stepped out from behind the trees, heart pounding, trying to process what I was seeing. Gloria caught sight of me through the back window and froze mid-sentence. Her smile vanished. The clipboard slipped from her hand. She opened the sliding door just a crack and hissed, "You weren't supposed to be here. What the hell are you doing in my house, Gloria?" She stammered something about a misunderstanding, that she thought the property was abandoned, and before I could step inside, she raised her voice and shouted, "This man is trespassing on private property. Call the police." And just like that, she dialed 911 herself. 20 minutes later, I was standing on my own porch, holding my ID and explaining to the sheriff that this was, in fact, my cabin. Gloria was already spinning some wild story about me selling the place to her cousin and refusing to vacate. Luckily, I had the deed locked away in a panel behind my bookshelf, passport, tax records, utilities, everything. It took them all of 10 minutes to confirm the parcel was legally mine. That should have been the end. But Gloria doubled down, said I forged the paperwork, claimed I was running some squatter scam. When the deputies asked her for documents, she produced a crumpled flyer and a handwritten note on what looked like the back of a grocery list. No legal contract. No sale agreement. Nothing. And still, she insisted she had verbal confirmation. It would have been laughable if it wasn't so violating. Then the guests started talking. One man said he wired a deposit for early bidding. A woman had paid $500 through Venmo for a walkthrough. Another said he drove 3 hours thinking this was a bank-owned foreclosure. It unraveled fast. By the time the officers dispersed the crowd and told Gloria she needed to leave pending investigation, the sun was dipping low. My hardwood floors were covered in muddy footprints and plastic wine cups. I stood in the middle of the wreckage and tried to breathe. I didn't sleep much that night. My sanctuary had been used as a prop in someone's real estate scam, and I wasn't going to let it slide. The next morning, I went straight to the HOA office. Place smelled like lemon wipes and denial. I asked to speak to Martin, the office manager, a jittery guy with a comb-over and the moral spine of a wet napkin. He looked up at me, pale as a ghost. "Didn't expect to see you back so soon." "Clearly," I said. Why was Gloria showing my cabin like she owned it? He fumbled through a folder and produced a form titled Property Vacancy Notice, allegedly signed by me, complete with a fake forwarding address and a Gmail I didn't recognize. It wasn't even close to my handwriting. "She said you were relocating," Martin mumbled. "Said it was time-sensitive and approved internally." "Did you verify anything with me directly?" "Well, she said you preferred minimal contact." I took out my phone and photographed every document, every email. Martin didn't stop me. I think he was relieved someone was finally calling her bluff. In the parking lot, I ran into a woman named Elise who had driven an hour with her sister to see the place. She showed me screenshots of Gloria's posts in a private Facebook group, advertising my cabin as a bank-distressed, off-grid gem. There were photos once taken inside the house while I was gone. That meant she'd broken in before. Maybe even more than once. I called Rachel that afternoon. She's a real estate attorney and one of the sharpest minds I know. We went to college together, and she's the same person who once got fined by Gloria for leaving her recycling bin out an extra day. When I told her what happened, she didn't laugh. She said, "Let's catch her in the act." Rachel posed as an interested buyer under a fake name and contacted Gloria through the same group. Within hours, Gloria responded, offered a private showing for $300, and sent a fake PDF listing with my photos, my address, and a made-up seller bio. We sent everything to the sheriff's office and coordinated a sting. Saturday afternoon, Rachel showed up at the cabin with 2 undercover deputies posing as buyers. I stayed upstairs, watching it all through a camera feed. Gloria was in full sales mode, cookies on the counter, brochures in hand, talking about radiant heating and hardwood finishes. Then she pulled out the key to my shed. That was her last mistake. The officers stepped in. She froze, tried to play dumb, claimed she had verbal permission again. But this time, it didn't work. They arrested her on the spot: fraud, unlawful entry, impersonation, attempted theft. As she was led to the cruiser, she looked up and saw me on the porch. Her jaw tightened. She muttered something under her breath I didn't catch. It didn't matter. The story spread fast. By Monday, the entire HOA was in panic mode. 2 board members resigned. Martin took a leave of absence. A special audit was launched. But the best part? Multiple victims filed a class action. I joined, not for the payout, but for the principle. Gloria tried to countersue me for defamation. Said I ruined her reputation. The judge dismissed it as nonsense. During the actual trial, we played footage from the sting. The jury watched her lie, gesture, smirk. Then we showed the forged forms. The fake emails. Barry, one of the ex-board members, even testified against her, admitting she pressured him to approve things without oversight. In the end, she was sentenced to probation, restitution, and banned from holding any HOA position for a decade. But her real sentence was losing the grip she had on everyone around her. I rebuilt the deck she claimed had been refinished. Added a new gate, biometric lock, solar array. I even had a cedar sign made that reads, "Not for sale. Not abandoned. Not yours." And right below it, HOA free zone. People still drive by, ask if they can see the famous cabin. I let some of them in. Not all. Depends on the vibe. One guy said, "You ever think about selling it now that it's got history?" I told him, "Not a chance. You don't sell the place that reminded you what fighting for something actually feels like." Now I just sit on the porch sometimes, coffee in hand, and listen to the wind. It sounds like peace. Like truth finally having room to breathe. And if you ask me, Gloria got off easy. But karma has a long memory. If you've ever had to fight someone who thought they were untouchable, let me know in the comments. Would you have handled it differently? Ever had an HOA nightmare? Let's talk about it. And hey, maybe subscribe next time. I'll tell you how Gloria once tried to fine me for planting wildflowers.